CQ calling all radio amateurs and listeners. This is Golf Bravo 2 Romeo Sierra, the news broadcasting service of the Radio Society of Great Britain. This broadcast comes to you from amateur radio station Golf 4 Juliet Bravo Delta in Meppershall, Bedfordshire. Welcome and thanks for joining us. It's Sunday the 15th of September and here's the GB2RS news broadcast, which was prepared for you by the RSGB and it's made available to all radio amateurs and listeners. You can also find this news bulletin on the RSGB website at rsgb.org, along with links to groups and organisations that may be mentioned in this broadcast. This week's headlines. The RSGB is looking for its next youth champion. We have news of medal success for an RSGB member at the IARU Amateur Radio Direction Finding Championships. And today is the last chance for you to book early bird tickets for the RSGB convention. We'll have more on those items shortly, but first we're looking for our next volunteer youth champion. This could be one role or split between people who focus on different aspects of it. The youth champion will work closely with the RSGB board liaison, who is Ben Lloyd, GW4BML, and the RSGB outreach team, and that's to ignite interest and develop links with schools, universities, scouts, guides, and with the general public. They'll also help to support young amateurs, motivating them to try new things within amateur radio after they've got their licence. The role calls for someone who's proactive, good at building relationships with young people, and who's passionate about inspiring the next generation of radio amateurs. If you'd like to see the full role description, you can go to rsgb.org/volunteers. And if you'd like to apply or find out more, then please contact Ben Lloyd. His email address is golfwhiskey4 Bravo Mike Lima at rsgb.org.uk. The 24th IARU Region 1 Amateur Radio Direction Finding Championships were held earlier this month in Bulgaria, and RSGB member David Williams, Mike 3 Whiskey Delta Delta, took to the podium with a silver medal in the M60 category of the 144 MHz Classic 5 transmitter race. The championships were held at Primorsko in Bulgaria, and David came very close to winning, being only 14 seconds behind the actual winner, Josef Simicek of Slovakia. There were 4 races in total, and the week started with the sprint race on 80 metres. The next day it was the 2 metre 5 transmitter classic race for the M60 category, in which David did so well. And this was followed by a well-earned rest day, after which came the 80 metre 5 transmitter race. And the week ended with the Foxering event, which is a combination of direction finding and orienteering, again on the 80 metre band. You can see the results in full and read more about ARDF, or Amateur Radio Direction Finding, at rsgb.org/ARDF. That's Alpha Romeo Delta Foxtrot. Now, a reminder for you that the RSGB Convention Early Bird Pass, or Early Bird Price, should I say, ends today, Sunday the 15th of September. There's a range of great presentations for you to attend and a fantastic microcontroller workshop to take part in as well. And there's all the social events to enjoy also, like the gala dinner. To find out more and to book your tickets, go to rsgb.org/convention. Now, have you ever tried LoRa or Node-RED? And indeed, have you ever used the Raspberry Pico for coding or played a Morse game with an Arduino? These are some of the great activities on our website that we've prepared for National Coding Week, which begins this Monday, the 16th of September. Whether you fancy doing something different for a club night or if you'd like to try something new just for fun, there's almost certainly an activity to inspire you. You could even try combining your love of amateur radio with the software interests of a family member. The RSGB has 9 activities for you, so head over to rsgb.org/coding, that's Charlie Oscar Delta India November Golf and get involved. The next Bletchley Park 1940s weekend takes place on the 21st and 22nd of September, and if you're visiting for the event, drop into the RSGB National Radio Centre, where you'll be able to see a number of World War II receivers on display. And remember the offer that RSGB members get in free to Bletchley Park, and that also includes admission to the RSGB National Radio Centre. To get the fantastic offer, you need to log into the RSGB membership portal. That's at rsgb.org/members. And once you're there, click on the Visit Bletchley Park link. National Hamfest 2024 is coming up soon. It's on the 27th and 28th of September, and it promises to be a memorable celebration of all things amateur radio. As always, traders and manufacturers are lining up to bring you the best in amateur radio equipment and accessories, with many offering exclusive deals. So it's the perfect time to upgrade your shack. For more information and to buy your tickets, you can visit National Hamfest. That's all one word, nationalhamfest.org.uk. And now we have details of rallies and events. The Broadcast Engineering Museum, which is near Gainsborough in Lincolnshire, is new and still work in progress, so it only opens a few days each year. Well, today from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. the museum is having an open day, and they have a vast collection of historic broadcasting equipment and memorabilia, some of which is restored and in full working condition on display in a former RAF sergeant's mess. There's free parking on site, and for more information you can email contact us, that's all one word, contact us at BECG, that's Bravo Echo Charlie Golf.org.uk, or you can visit becg.org.uk. The British Vintage Wireless Society is holding a swap meet and auction today the 15th. That's at the Weatherly Centre on Eagle Farm Road in Biggleswade, Bedfordshire. And the postcode for your sat-nav is Sierra Golf 188 Juliet Hotel. Stall holders can enter from 9 a.m. and the doors open to the public at 9:30 a.m. with entry being £8. The auction starts at 12:30 and refreshments are available throughout the day. For more information, visit bvws.org.uk, that's Bravo Victor Whiskey Sierra.org.uk, or you can email Jeremy Owen, Golf 8 Mike Lima Kilo. His email address is secretary@bvws.org.uk. The East Midlands Ham and Electronics Rally takes place on Saturday the 21st of September, and that's at Beckingham Village Hall, Southend Lane in Doncaster, and the postcode is Delta November 10 for Foxtrot X-Ray. The doors open for visitors from 9:30 a.m. up till 4 p.m. and entry is £3 per person. There's disabled access, which will be available from 9:15 a.m. For more information, including ways to book and contact details, you can visit the event website, which is Golf 0 Romeo Alpha Foxtrot, that's G4JBD.co.uk/rally, that's RALLY. The Western Supermare Radio Society Radio and Electronics Rally is on Sunday the 22nd of September. That starts at 10 a.m. and it's being held at the Campus Community Centre in Wirral, Western Supermare, and the postcode is Bravo Sierra 247 Delta X-Ray. You can get more information and means of booking a table by emailing Western Radio Society, that's all one word, and that's WESTON, Weston Radio Society @gmail.com. And now we move across to the special event news. Well, it's the GQRP Club's 50th anniversary, and to celebrate, special call sign Golf 5 Lima Oscar Whiskey and all its regional variants will be active until the 30th of September, with several overseas stations joining in the fun. For more information, including details of commemorative certificates that will be available for chasers, visit tinyurl.com/GQRP /Golf Quebec Romeo Papa 50. I'll repeat that. That's tinyurl.com, and tinyurl is all one word. tinyurl.com /Golf Quebec Romeo Papa 50. During October and November, special call sign Papa Zulu 5 Juliet Tango will be back on the air from Suriname, and that's during jungle training exercises of the Royal Dutch Army and Marines. The station is operated by Signal Regiment personnel, and they'll be active on 40, 20, 17, 15 and 10 metres using SSB. They'll be using in-service military L3 Harris radios from various locations in Suriname, and they'll welcome your call. Now we have the DX news. Carl Gorse, 2 Echo Zero Hotel Papa India, will be operating from various locations around Lancashire for Parks on the Air. He'll be active from tomorrow the 16th up until Friday the 20th of September using a Yaesu FT857D and a Xiegu Golf 90 transceiver. They will be running around 20 watts. Listen out for Carl on all bands from 160 to 10 metres. He'll be using FT4, FT8 and SSB. Maxim Oscar Hotel 7 Oscar will be active as 3 Delta 2 Yankee Yankee. He'll be operating from Viti Levu, that's IOTA reference Oscar Charlie 016. That's in Fiji, and he'll be active until the 19th of September, operating mostly SSB and some slow Morse code on the 40 to 10 metre bands, and possibly also the 80 metre band. And he'll be operating from various locations around the island. And to see more information on his activities, go to qrz.com and look up the call sign 3 Delta 2 Yankee Yankee. And now we have the contest news. Today the 15th, it's the 70 MHz Affiliated Societies contest, and it runs from 0900 to 1200 UTC. It uses all modes on the 4 metre band, and your exchange is signal report, serial number and locator. We have also in progress at the moment the Worked All Europe DX SSB contest. It started at 0000 UTC yesterday, and it runs until 23:59 UTC today, Sunday the 15th of September. Using SSB on the 80 to 10 metre bands where contests are allowed, the exchange is signal report and serial number. Today the 15th, it's the UK Microwave Group's 24 to 76 GHz contest, and that runs from 0900 to 1700 UTC. It uses all modes on the 24 to 76 GHz bands, and the exchange is signal report, serial number and your locator. And also today it's the IRTS 70 centimetre counties contest. That runs from 1300 to 1330 UTC. Using SSB and FM on the 70 centimetre band, the exchange is signal report, serial number and locator. And just a note that Irish stations will also give their county. There's also the IRTS 2 metre counties contest, which also takes place today from 1330 to 1500 UTC. Using SSB and FM on the 2 metre band, the exchange is signal report, serial number and locator, and once again the Irish stations will also give their county. Another one today, it's the British Amateur Radio Teledata Group Sprint PSK 63 contest. That runs from 1700 to 2100 UTC. Using PSK 63 on the 80 to 10 metre bands where contests are allowed, the exchange is your serial number. Tomorrow the 16th, it's the RSGB FT4 contest. That runs from 1900 to 2030 UTC. Using FT4 on the 80 to 10 metre bands, the exchange is your signal report. Then on Tuesday the 17th, it's the 1.3 GHz UK activity contest, running from 1900 to 2130 UTC. This uses all modes on the 1.3 GHz band, and the exchange is signal report, serial number and your locator. Then on Thursday the 19th, it's the 70 MHz UK activity contest, and that runs from 1900 to 2130 UTC. Using all modes on the 4 metre band, the exchange's signal report, serial number and locator. Then finally on Sunday the 22nd, it's the practical wireless 70 MHz contest, and that runs from 1200 to 1600 UTC. Using all modes on the 4 metre band, the exchange is signal report, serial number and locator. And now we have the radio propagation report. This was compiled by Golf 0 Kilo Yankee Alpha, Golf 3 Yankee Lima Alpha and Golf 4 Bravo Alpha Oscar on Thursday the 12th of September. Well, last week showed that HF conditions are improving as we head into autumn. With a solar flux index still above 200, there was plenty of DX available to work, and CDXC members reported working Victor Papa 6 Whiskey Romeo on Pitcairn Island, also Kilo Hotel 8 Tango on American Samoa, and 3 Delta 2 Uniform Sierra Uniform on Fiji, and that's not a bad catch for early September. A little closer to home, 9 Alpha 168 Tango Echo Sierra Lima Alpha, that's 9A 168 Tesla, in Croatia, has been popping up for short periods celebrating the 168th anniversary of the birthday of electrical pioneer Nikola Tesla. Keep an eye on DX Summit for operating times. The daylight maximum usable frequency, or MUF, over 3,000 kilometre paths generally remains above 28 MHz, although a raised KP index can reduce this. Geomagnetic conditions have been relatively calm, with the KP index below 3 all week, but that did change on Thursday the 12th as material from a coronal mass ejection, or CME, passed the ACE spacecraft in the early hours. And we also had a raised KP index yesterday on Saturday. The solar wind speed increased to more than 500 kilometres per second, and the BZ swung south. On Thursday the 12th, the KP index was 5, and the Met Office Space Weather Department was forecasting unsettled conditions for the weekend, ending today the 15th. At the same time, an X-class flare occurred, and that lowered the maximum usable frequencies due to increased D-layer absorption. 2 large coronal holes on the Sun's surface are now Earth-facing, and they threaten to add to the solar wind this weekend. According to NOAA's prediction, the solar flux index should stay in the range of 210 to 225 next week, although a large number of spots are about to rotate off the Sun's visible disk, and this may be compensated for by an active region that's about to rotate into view. This has been emitting C-class and lower level M flares, and it could be the same region that produced a number of energetic eruptions off the far side of the Sun over the past week. Time will tell. Well, now we have the VHF and up propagation news, and this was compiled by Golf 3 Yankee Lima Alpha and Golf 4 Bravo Alpha Oscar. The heavy showers at the end of last week produced some good rain scatter, but no contacts in the UK were noted, as the showers didn't coincide with any gigahertz contests, and few suitable home stations were active to take advantage of them. After a gradual build-up of pressure over this weekend, ending on the 15th, high pressure is forecast by most models during the coming week. However, there is some uncertainty about the position of the high. Currently, models favour the north of Britain, and this means that in the south, although still on the edge of high pressure, there could be a brisk northeasterly breeze, and that may weaken any inversion. It's not clear if the Tropo will be functioning in time for the 70 MHz affiliated societies contest today, the 15th, but it should be helpful for the 1.3 GHz UK activity contest on Tuesday the 17th, as well as the 70 MHz UK activity contest on Thursday the 19th. Solar conditions are still likely to offer the occasional elevated KP index. That would then be a good sign for possible aurora, and it will be interesting to see how things evolve this weekend, ending the 15th, as a series of expected coronal mass ejections are due to reach Earth. The amateur bands between 10 metres and 2 metres are the ones for you to check, as well as listening for watery sounding signals on the HF bands. And remember that it doesn't have to be dark for Radio Aurora to exist, so don't wait for dusk before checking. Meteor scatter is mainly likely to come from random activity in the coming week. However, with the September Epsilon Perseids stream still active until the 21st, and which peaked on the 9th, conditions may be slightly enhanced. For moon bounce or EME operators, moon declination is negative but rising, and it will go positive again on Wednesday the 18th. Moon visibility windows will continue to rise while path losses decrease as we approach perigee on Wednesday the 18th. 144 MHz sky noise is moderate for the whole of next week, and that's all from the propagation team this week. This is Golf Bravo 2 Romeo Sierra, the news broadcasting service of the Radio Society of Great Britain, brought to you from amateur radio station Golf 4 Juliet Bravo Delta in Bedfordshire. Well, next we bring you the local news, and details of all RSGB affiliated clubs and societies are on the RSGB website if you need to look them up, and they do include email addresses and website links if we have them. Well, we kick off with news for the Midlands, and firstly, meetings of the Bolsover Amateur Radio Society take place every other Tuesday. They start at 8 p.m. and they're held at the Bainbridge Hall in Bolsover, and the postcode is Sierra 446 Papa X-ray. The next meeting is on Tuesday the 17th, and you can get more information and reminders for meetings on the Society's Facebook page, which is at Bolsover ARS, and that's Bolsover ARS, all one word. Bromsgrove and District Amateur Radio Club meet every Friday from 8 p.m, and members also have a regular coffee morning on Wednesdays in the club shack from 10:30 a.m. Then on Monday and Wednesday evenings they meet on the air on 145.375 MHz from 7:30 p.m. The Burton Amateur Radio Club has open nets around 145.575 MHz at 10 a.m. on Sundays and 8 p.m. on Thursdays. Then on Monday they'll be having slow Morse code exercises on 14.055 MHz starting at 11 a.m. and the club meets in person every Wednesday from 7:30 p.m. Central Radio Amateur Circle has a net on 145.575 MHz from 7:30 p.m. on Tuesdays and from 12 p.m. on Saturdays, and the group will be having a Google meeting at 7 p.m. this coming Wednesday. Cheltenham Amateur Radio Association meets on 145.400 MHz each day at 8:10 a.m. and they also have a Friday net which is on 144.350 MHz from 8 p.m. And you can get more information on the club's activities on their website, which is golf5bravokilo.uk. The Dudley and District Amateur Radio Society meet every Tuesday from 6 to 10 p.m. They meet at the Wrighton Mill, which is on 59 Vale Street in Upper Gornal near Dudley, and the postcode is Delta Yankee 3 X-Ray Foxtrot. Gloucester Amateur Radio and Electronic Society have an informal net every day. That's held on 145.475 MHz FM at 3:30 p.m. Then on Mondays, members have an informal meeting, and on Wednesdays they get together on the air from 7:30 p.m. on 145.475 MHz FM. Then on Thursday they have another net from 7:30 p.m. on 145.475, moving to 80 meters SSB later on. And on Friday they have a net on 432.220 MHz SSB, and that starts at 7:30 p.m. On Wednesday, Mark, 2 Echo 0 Sierra Bravo Mike, will be giving a practical demonstration of his homemade 2 metre and 70 centimetre antennas. He'll be presenting that at the Hinckley Amateur Radio and Electronic Society meeting. Kettering and District Amateur Radio Society has a breakfast meeting from 10 a.m. on Sundays, and on Tuesday they have a club meeting from 7 p.m. Then on Thursdays they meet on the air on 145.300 MHz from 7 p.m. On Wednesday, Kidderminster Repeater Group will have a Natter Night. They're holding that at the Queen's Head in Wolverley, and that will start at 7:30 p.m. On Monday, Leicester Radio Society will hold a meeting at its club rooms and via Zoom starting at 7:30 p.m. Then on Thursday, there'll be a club meeting from 10 a.m. The Lincoln Shortwave Club will meet at the BSA Village Hall from 7:30 p.m. on Wednesday and 7:30 a.m. on Saturday. On Thursday, they'll have a net through Golf Bravo 3 Lima Sierra, or if that's busy, they'll use 145.350 MHz, and that you can get more information on the club's activities on their website, which is golf5foxtrotzulu.co.uk. On Tuesday, Loughborough and District Amateur Radio Club will be meeting to discuss the video disc player. On Wednesday, Malvern Hills Radio Amateurs Club will have a net on 145.350 MHz FM starting at 8 p.m. On Thursday, members of the Northampton Radio Club will get together to work on the club's new shack. They'll also have a barbecue from midday onwards, and for more information you can visit their website, which is Northampton Radio Club. That's all one word, northamptonradioclub.co.uk. On Monday, Nunsfield House Amateur Radio Group will have a shack night and club net on 145.300 MHz from 8 p.m. Then on Friday, members will get together to watch a TX Factor video. On Monday, RAF Waddington Amateur Radio Club have a net on 145.325 MHz from 7:30 p.m. and the club will meet in person at the Pie Wipe, and that's from 8 p.m. on Friday. Rugby Amateur Transmitting Society have weekday nets at 8:30 a.m. on 144.275 MHz USB. They also hold training and practice Morse code nets every Monday and Thursday at 4:30 p.m. on 144.275 MHz. They start off with upper sideband, and then once everyone's gathered, they move across to Morse code. The Society will also meet from 8 p.m. on Tuesday and from 2 p.m. on Saturday. They meet at the Borton Lee 12th Rugby Scouts Hut. Then on Friday they have a net from 8 p.m. and that's held on 1913 kHz. On Thursday, Salop Amateur Radio Society will meet for a club and shack night, and you can get more information on their website, which is Salop Radio Society, that's all one word, salopradiosociety.org. On Thursday, Solihull Amateur Radio Society will meet to discuss antenna design, and that's at the first Solihull Scout headquarters, and that starts at 8 p.m. South Birmingham Radio Society will have an open club night on Friday from 7:30 p.m, and visitors are also welcome to attend the Society's coffee morning, which is held on Tuesdays at 10:30 a.m. On Tuesday, South Derbyshire and Ashby Wolds Amateur Radio Group have a net on 144.225 MHz SSB starting at 7 p.m. And they also have a club evening from 7 p.m. on Wednesday. And on Friday they have a net on 70.425 MHz from 7 p.m. On Sundays, Stafford and Districts Amateur Radio Society have a net on 145.375 MHz from 8 p.m. And on Wednesday, members will meet at the Wildwood Community Centre starting at 8 p.m. The Stourbridge and District Amateur Radio Society will meet at the Norton Snooker Club from 8 p.m. on Monday. Also on Monday, Stratford-upon-Avon and District Radio Society will have a net on 145.275 MHz from 8 p.m. And for more information, visit their website, which is Stratford Radio Society, all one word, stratfordradiosociety.org.uk. On Monday, Sutton Coldfield Amateur Radio Society will have an open net around 145.250 MHz from 7:30 p.m. Excuse me. The next meeting of the Telford and District Amateur Radio Society will be on Wednesday, and for more information go to their website, which is tdars.org.uk. That's Tango Delta Alpha Romeo Sierra.org.uk. On Monday, Welland Valley Amateur Radio Society will meet at Great Bowden Village Hall, and the meeting will start at 7 p.m. Wolverhampton Amateur Radio Society meets every Wednesday from 7:30 p.m. at the Wednesfield and Woodend British Legion. Then on Sundays they have a net around 145.350 MHz from 8 p.m. You can get more information on their website, which is wolverhamptonars.co.uk, or one word, wolverhamptonars, or you can look at @wolvesars on social media. On Sundays, Withall Radio Club have their net on 145.225 MHz starting at 7 p.m. Then on Tuesdays, members will get together for a club night, and that starts at 7:30 p.m. We now move across to news for the South East and East Anglia. And we start off with news for Aylesbury Vale Radio Society, which meets for a discussion evening on Wednesday, and that starts at 8 p.m. The Banbury Amateur Radio Society have a net most evenings on 144.5125 MHz FM, and members will meet for a club night on Wednesday. For more information, have a look at their website, which is Banbury ARES, that's all one word, banburyares.co.uk. On Monday, Bishop Stortford Amateur Radio Society will meet at Farnham Village Hall from 8 p.m, and visitors and new members are always welcome to attend. On Wednesday, they'll have a net from 8 p.m. on 145.5625 MHz, and again, it's an open net, so everyone's welcome to join in. Bracknell Amateur Radio Club have their net through Golf Bravo 3 Bravo November. That's at 5 p.m. on Sundays. On Tuesday from 8 p.m, the Braintree and District Amateur Radio Society have a net on 145.375 MHz FM and on Zoom, and everyone's welcome to take part. The next meeting of the Breed Stream Amateur Radio Society is on Saturday the 21st of September. The Bredhurst Receiving and Transmitting Society meets in its shack every Wednesday from 7 p.m, and they also have a net through Golf Bravo 3 Delta Alpha on Thursdays. On Tuesday, Bromley and District Amateur Radio Society will meet for a Morse code session from 7:30 p.m, and on Wednesday they'll have a net starting on 145.500 MHz from 9 p.m. And for more information, you can go to their website, which is Bravo Delta Alpha Romeo Sierra.wordpress.com. Burnham Beeches Radio Club has its net from 10:30 a.m. on Sundays, starting on 145.500 and then moving across to 145.275 MHz. The Bury St Edmunds Amateur Radio Society meet at the Rougham Tower Museum on the third Wednesday of each month. It's a small but very active club, and they have club nets every day of the week except Sunday. You can find details on the club's website, which is Bravo Sierra Echo Alpha Romeo Sierra.co.uk, and the club's general chat frequencies are 144.7375 MHz FM and 433.400 MHz FM. On Sundays, the Chelmsford Amateur Radio Society have a Morse code net on 144.060 MHz starting at 8 p.m. Then on Monday they have Morse code classes which start at 7:30 p.m. around 3542 kHz, and that's followed at 8:15 p.m. by slow Morse transmissions by Golf Bravo 2 Charlie Whiskey, and that's on 3555 kHz. Then on Tuesday they have an open net through Golf Bravo 3 Delta Alpha, that's at 8 p.m. And on Thursday they have Morse code classes through Skype at 7 p.m. On Tuesday, the Chelsea Pensioners Radio Club have their net on 145.375 MHz from 2 p.m. On Tuesday, Colchester Radio Amateurs have their nets on 433.400 MHz from 7 p.m. and on 1.920 MHz lower sideband from 8 p.m. Then on Wednesday they have an open net around 145.350 MHz at 7 p.m. and there'll be a club meeting this Thursday And on Friday they'll have an open DX net, which will be on 14.125 megahertz with help on 145.350 megahertz from 2:30 p.m. On Sundays, the Coulsdon Amateur Transmitting Society has nets on 145.400 megahertz from 11 a.m. and on 3.700 megahertz from 5 p.m. Then on Wednesday, they have a net on 70.425 megahertz from 9 p.m. Crawley Amateur Radio Club meet from 11 a.m. on Sundays, 8 p.m. on Wednesdays and 2 p.m. on Fridays. On Wednesday the 18th, there'll be a talk given by Steve, Golf 3 Zulu Papa Sierra. It's on the subject of a short history of KW electronics. Then on Sunday the 22nd, the club will have a microwave round table. And just to let you know, the club meets at Hut 18. That's on Tilgate Drive in Crawley. And the postcode is Romeo Hotel 105 Hotel Whiskey. And if you need any more information, you can contact Stuart, Golf 3 Yankee Sierra X-Ray. His number is 0772 006 8493. The Cray Valley Radio Society is located at the Scout headquarters at the rear of 61 to 71 Southend Crescent in Eltham. That's in London. And the postcode is Sierra Echo 92 Sierra Delta. The Society's November face-to-face full licence course is now fully subscribed, and the Society's 2-metre and 4-metre FM nets are held on 145.350 megahertz on Sundays at 10 a.m. and 70.425 megahertz on Fridays at 8 p.m. They also have a top band SSB net which moves to AM. That's held on the first Monday of each month around 1.905 megahertz at 8 p.m. Then on Thursday the 19th, there'll be a talk at 7:30 p.m, which is on the subject of radio astronomy for a rainy day. The doors will open at 7 p.m, and visitors are welcome to attend. If you need more information, contact Dave, Golf 4 November Oscar Whiskey. He'll be available to help you at the hall. On Wednesdays, Crystal Palace Radio and Electronics Club have their net on 145.525 megahertz from 8 p.m. And on Saturday, the club has a net on 51.550 megahertz FM from 8 p.m. On Sundays, Darenth Valley Radio Society have their net on 145.475 megahertz at 8 a.m. The Dorking and District Radio Society have a net every day from Monday to Saturday. That's on 144.775 megahertz FM starting at 10 a.m. On Thursday, the Dover Amateur Radio Club will have a club night, and for more information visit their website, which is Delta Alpha Romeo Charlie.online. Essex Ham has a net on Monday. That's through Golf Bravo 3 Delta Alpha starting at 8 p.m, and they'll also have chat room and audio feed available at essexham.net. On Sundays, Felixstowe and District Amateur Radio Society will have a net on 145.400 megahertz from 10 a.m. And tomorrow the 16th, members will meet at the Broadway House from 7:30 p.m. Then on Wednesday, they have a net through Golf Bravo 3 India Hotel, and that starts at 7:30 p.m. On Tuesdays, Harlow and District Amateur Radio Society have a technical meeting from 10 a.m. Then on Wednesday they have a net on 145.425 megahertz from 7:30 p.m. And on Friday the Society will meet in person from 8 p.m. and visitors are welcome to take part. Hastings Electronics and Radio Club holds a daily net on the Golf Bravo 3 Echo Sierra repeater. That's at 10 a.m. And they also have a Morse code net on Monday nights at 8 p.m. on 144.575 megahertz. The Morse code net is aimed at anyone new to Morse code or who wishes to brush up on their Morse skills, and non-members are welcome to take part as well. The net is then followed by general conversation. Then on Wednesday, normally at 1 p.m, members will meet up at various locations in the area for an afternoon of portable radio on both HF and VHF using SSB, Morse code and FM. Non-members are welcome to visit, but as the details do vary each week, it's a good idea to visit the club's website just to view up-to-date information about where and when they'll be meeting. And the website address is hastings-electronics-radio-club.com. That's hastings-electronics-radio-club.com. On Sundays, the Horndean District Amateur Radio Club have a Morse code net at 9 a.m. That's around 1950 kHz. Then they move across to SSB at around 9:30. Then on Sundays, there's also an 8 p.m. net on 433.450 MHz. And on Monday, they meet on 1950 kHz from 7:30 p.m. That net then moves to 145.375 MHz on Wednesdays. And on Friday, there'll be a club night, and that will include training for exams. On Thursday, Horsham Amateur Radio Club will have a social meeting at the Dog and Bacon. That's in Horsham itself. On Sundays, the Isle of Wight Radio Society have a net via Golf Bravo 7 Papa Oscar and Golf Bravo 7 Mike Tango starting at 8 p.m. The Society also has a net on Monday to Friday. That's through Golf Bravo 3 India Whiskey from 6:15 a.m. Then on Tuesday, the Society takes part in the Bramble net. That's through GB3IW, and that starts at 7:30 p.m. that is. Then on Thursday, they have another net through GB3IW, and that's followed by a Zoom meeting from 8 p.m. Then on Friday, members meet at Haylands Farm in Ryde, and at those meetings there are foundation and intermediate licence training courses available. On Saturday, Itchen Valley Amateur Radio Club will meet for a low-power day. The Loughton and Epping Forest Amateur Radio Society have a net on Wednesday. That's from 8 p.m. on Brandmeister DMR Talk Group 23511. Then on Thursday, they meet at 8 p.m. on 144.725 MHz FM. On Friday, there'll be a face-to-face meeting and a data night on the air, and that's held at All Saints House from 8 p.m. The Lowestoft District and Pye Amateur Radio Club have their net on Sundays on 433.575 MHz. That starts at 7 p.m. Then on Tuesday, they meet on 145.475 MHz from 7 p.m. And the club meets in person on Thursday evenings from 7:30 p.m. And the last net of the week is on Friday, and that's on 51.490 MHz at 7 p.m. The Martello Tower Group have their net night every Monday evening at 8 p.m. through Golf Bravo 3 Charlie Lima. Then on Sunday, the group has a net through Golf Bravo 3 Charlie Echo from 8 p.m. The Medway Amateur Receiving and Transmitting Society nets are every weekday from 9:30 a.m. on 144.650 MHz. Tomorrow the 16th, the Milton Keynes Amateur Radio Society will get together to work on its Club TCXO project, and on Wednesday they'll have a net on 28.390 MHz from 8 p.m. Then on Friday the Society will get together on Zoom, and that's for coffee and chat, starting at 10:30 a.m. The Norfolk Amateur Radio Club have a net through Golf Bravo 3 November Bravo every Monday from 7:30 p.m. and that's followed by a Morse code net on 3543 kHz at 8:30 p.m. The Shefford District Radio Society has a regular top band net on Monday evenings at 7 p.m. and that's on 1985 kHz lower sideband, and they also have a net on 2 meters on Wednesdays at 8 p.m. through Golf Bravo 3 Papa India, so you can catch up with news, activities and developments within the club. Then this coming Thursday evening, the Society will take part in the Shefford Community Festival, and members will demonstrate 2 working stations as well as Morse code, and they'll have a display of amateur radio equipment. This will take place at the Community Hall in Shefford, starting at 7 p.m. And to find the club and for more information on what the club do, you can visit their website, which is Sierra Alpha Delta Alpha Romeo Sierra.co.uk. On Wednesday, Southdown Amateur Radio Society will have a cafe meeting at 12:15 p.m. and that will be followed by a net through Golf Bravo 3 Zulu X-ray from 2 p.m. The Stevenage and District Amateur Radio Society meet every Tuesday evening from 7:30 p.m. at the Stevenage Resource Centre. That's on Chells Way, Stevenage, and the postcode is Sierra Golf 20 Lima Tango. They have free tea, coffee and biscuits available for everyone attending, and they also have a club net which is usually on Tuesday evenings from 8 p.m. and that's on 145.450 MHz. They have another net on Thursday evenings on or around 3.727 MHz using the club call sign Golf 3 Sierra Alpha Delta. And you can find more information on the club's website, which is Sierra Alpha Delta Alpha Romeo Sierra.com. On Sundays, the Surrey Radio Contact Club has its net on 1.905 MHz at 9:30 a.m. Then on Monday they'll meet on 3.710 MHz from 9 a.m. On Tuesday the net is on 51.550 MHz starting at 8 p.m. and on Wednesday the meeting frequency is 28.078 MHz JS8 starting at 10 a.m. On Thursday they move to 4 meters, the frequency is 70.300 MHz from 8 p.m. and then on Friday they have a D-Star net. That's on 144.6125 MHz from 7:30 p.m. and an FM net on 145.350 MHz from 8 p.m. The West Kent Amateur Radio Society have regular weekly nets, and you can find details of these and other club information on their website, which is Whiskey Kilo Alpha Romeo Sierra.org.uk. And on Monday, members will meet at the Bidborough, or will meet at Bidborough, and that's for a Ballon building session. Well, that's all for this week's GB2RS News broadcast, which was brought to you by Graham, Golf 4 Juliet Bravo Delta in Mappishall, Bedfordshire. The news was compiled by the Radio Society of Great Britain, who represent amateur radio and radio amateurs in the UK and abroad. If you have a news item to share, then please email it to us as far in advance as possible so we can include it for you free of charge in the GB2RS News broadcast, Radcom magazine and the RSGB website. Send your news to the editorial team, whose email address is radcom@rsgb.org.uk. And just to note that if your news is time sensitive, then you need to make sure that you get it into the news team by 10 a.m. on the Thursday prior to the news broadcast on Sunday. The RSGB will retain the copyright over all material transmitted. You can find information about amateur radio on our website, which is rsgb.org. And you can also download a full schedule of GB2RS broadcasts from rsgb.org/GB2RS schedule. And that's all one word, GB2RS schedule. Well, we wish you 7-3 from the GB2RS News team. We hope you have a lovely Sunday and a great week ahead, and I'll be back again next week. This is Graham, Golf 4 Juliet Bravo Delta in Mappishall, Bedfordshire, now listening for any calls or reports.